What if I told you that the largest gold reserve in human history vanished? Not stolen in the dead of night, not lost at sea, but moved, hidden, erased. Some say it was a government secret. Others believe it was part of something far more sinister, a devil's plan to enslave the world. This is the story of how the world's gold disappeared and why you were never supposed to ask. In 1933, the U.S. created Fort Knox, a fortress to guard America's gold. At its peak, over 4,500 tons of gold, worth more than $300 billion today. It was said to be the safest place on Earth, armed, sealed, untouchable. But here's the twist. No one has seen the gold in decades. Not presidents, not auditors, not even Congress. In 1974, a one-time photo op allowed cameras inside, but many claim it was staged. So the question lingers, is the gold still there? Story number 1, the missing Nazi gold. After World War II, hundreds of tons of Nazi gold went missing. Trains full of gold bars vanished into the Alps. Bank accounts opened, then closed. Some say it was moved to America. Others whisper it never left Europe, became a weapon. There are over 280,000 unallocated gold accounts held by European private banks. Who owns them? We may never know. This hidden hoard could be the key to understanding our past and our future. But why have they remained a secret for so long? And who really holds the power to shape our world? Now back to our story. Story 2, the Federal Reserve Mystery. The US dollar was once backed by gold. But in 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard. And from that moment on, money was no longer money, it became a promise, a stack of paper with green ink, a digital blip on a screen. The gold was locked away. Maybe it was already gone. Some believe it was all part of a greater plan, a controlled collapse. What if the end of the gold standard wasn't an accident? What if it was a strategic move to shift the world's financial system from gold to something more malleable, more controllable? A system where money is no longer backed by tangible value, but by the full faith of the government. A gamble on the economy, a bet on the future. Enter the Federal Reserve, a private bank with a government license to print money. Now hear me out. This isn't your typical banking. This is playing God, controlling the very lifeblood of the nation, dictating interest rates, setting inflation targets. All behind closed doors with no oversight. Think about it. Why would they do this? Why abandon the stability of gold for the uncertainty of numbers on a screen? The answer, some say, lies in the unseen, in the shadows that dance around us. They whispered that gold was too honest, too reliable, didn't bend to their grand designs. So they replaced it with something more pliable, more manipulable. A phantom currency that could be conjured and controlled with a few keystrokes on a keyboard. The birth of the Federal Reserve was a quiet coup. Subtle shift in power that many didn't notice, didn't understand, and most certainly didn't agree with. Was this the beginning of the end? Did the abandonment of gold pave the way for the manipulation of money, the creation of endless bubbles and crashes that seemed to swallow the world every few years? Why did they silence the gold? Why did they usher in an era of ephemeral currency, a world where money is no longer anchored to reality, but floats on a sea of debt and derivatives? The silence is deafening, isn't it? It screams of hidden agendas and covert motives. The powers that be want us to look away while they orchestrate the grandest financial ballet the world has ever seen. A waltz of numbers that only they understand. A tango of debt and deceit that leaves us mere spectators in our own financial demise. We keep asking why, but the only answer we get is a mirage, a reflection of our own confusion and powerlessness. They tell us to trust them, to believe in the system. But can we really see through the smoke and mirrors the sleight of hand that leaves us holding the bag? As we stand on the precipice of a new financial era, we must remember the golden days, the times when money had weight. When it represented something real, something tangible. The gold may be gone, but the questions remain. Why did they take it away? And more importantly, where is it now? And here's the kicker. In 1974, President Nixon ordered the gold to be moved from the sub-basement of the World Trade Center to Fort Knox. It seemed like a simple transfer, a routine relocation. But in retrospect, was it really? You see, when the Twin Towers fell, not only did American dreams collapse, but also the sub-basement where a significant portion of the nation's gold reserves were kept. Ironically, it was the same gold that was meant to be safe and secure in Fort Knox. But now that security is in question, was the move a clever ploy to protect the gold from the very disaster that eventually struck? Was it a preemptive measure to safeguard the nation's wealth, or something more sinister? Was it part of a larger scheme to consolidate power, to shift control from the hands of the people to the shadowy realm of the elite few? Now don't get me wrong, Fort Knox may still hold the treasures of yesteryears, but the veil of invincibility has been lifted. It's a mere fortress in a changing world, a relic of a bygone era, when things had weight, when promises were backed by tangible value. But the silence is deafening. It echoes the unanswered questions, the doubts that linger like ghosts in the corridors of our financial past. In a world where trust is a luxury and transparency a distant dream, we're left grasping at shadows. Why did they do it? Why move the gold? Why change the game? Why leave us in the dark? The answers lie hidden in the labyrinth of power, buried under layers of deceit and shrouded in the thick fog of conspiracy. In the heart of New York, where the Twin Towers once stood tall, there was a place where gold bars were stored, where wealth was kept safe and sound. It was a place of trust, a beacon of financial security until one fateful day when everything changed. When the dust settled and the shock wore off, it became clear that much more than dreams had been lost. The gold, the very foundation of economic stability, was shaken to its core. In the aftermath of this tragedy, a decision was made, a pivotal move that raised more questions than it answered. The gold was transferred to Fort Knox, a fortress built to withstand the test of time. But what was the real reason behind this transfer? Was it to protect the gold, or to hide it from view, to keep it safe from prying eyes and hidden from public scrutiny? Now, Fort Knox may seem like the epitome of security, a vault impervious to the chaos of the outside world. But is it really impenetrable? Can we be sure that the gold remains untouched, untarnished? Or has it become a pawn in a game of global finance? In the annals of history, there have been instances where the mighty have fallen, where empires have crumbled, and fortunes have vanished into thin air. The silence is deafening, isn't it? Speaks of hidden agendas, of secrets buried deep within the hallowed halls of power. And as we delve deeper into this labyrinth of intrigue, we find ourselves at a crossroads. Do we trust the guardians of our gold, the ones who claim to protect it in our name? Or do we see the writing on the wall, recognizing the subtle shift in power, the gradual erosion of our rights and liberties? The silence is a heavy burden, one that weighs on our minds and threatens to crush our spirits. But we must not succumb to despair. We must not let the darkness extinguish the flame of truth. For the gold, whether it remains in Fort Knox or has been scattered to the winds, is merely a symbol of our collective power, our shared prosperity, and our hard-earned security. If you feel like this, if you've been questioning the system, if you've been searching for answers in a world of shadows, know that you're not alone. There are millions more who share your concerns, who wonder about the fate of our gold and the future of our world. We must unite, join hands and raise our voices in unison, demanding transparency, accountability, and a return to the principles that built this great nation. To expose the shadows that have been cast upon our financial system and to reclaim what is rightfully ours, the gold, the truth, and the power to shape our destiny. So here's to the gold, wherever it may be, and to the hope that it symbolizes. May it serve as a reminder of the values that have guided us through the ages and inspire us to fight for a brighter future. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can bring the truth to light. And if you stand with me, if you're ready to demand change, if you're tired of living in the shadows, then let your voice be heard. Let's ignite a movement that will echo throughout the ages and pave the way for a new era of transparency, integrity, and hope. Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video if you found it informative. Stay tuned for more content.